Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 of Tiny Bunny. When last we left off, we were about to begin our first day at a new school term. Things are becoming increasingly intense and confusing in a really good way. It seems our mother has us on some kind of medication that's sedating us in a way, and we accidentally recorded over our little sister's Peter Pan cassette with a really creepy true crime documentary. So yeah, I'm getting more and more curious as to where this is going, so I've really been looking forward to jumping back in. All right, here we go. The day I feared most, the first day of a new school term. Episode 2, Time to Play With You. That was Volvo's picture in the paper. New school, new teachers, and most importantly, new classmates who I always have trouble connecting with. Like most other kids with glasses, probably. This poor kid puts so much pressure on himself simply because he wears glasses. Were glasses just like stupidly unpopular in Russia in the 90s? I forced myself to get out of my warm bed. Dad would usually drive me to my old school, but this morning the bedroom of my parents was silent. Did they sleep in? Maybe it was a good thing. I didn't want to get the daddy's boy reputation from day one. My parents were probably still tucked in, dreaming about the good old days when everything was so simple and easy. Sweet dreams, even if far removed from reality. I silently sneaked out to the first floor so I wouldn't wake up anybody, especially the peacefully sleeping Olya. I did my best to step on the middle of every floorboard. I used to play like this even in our old apartment. If my soles touched the space between the floorboards, it counted as stepping into lava. The clock was spurring me on with its hands. I need to hurry, faster, faster. I was too fast, so I needed to circle the hallway once again. Boiling lava was bursting out of the cracks between floorboards. I needed to watch my step, to survive at any cost. Hippity-hop like a frog jumping on molehills, like a fearful bunny in a grove full of wolves. I made a sandwich in the kitchen, shoved it down my throat, and drank it down with cold tea. My appetite was as good as of someone being led up the scaffold toward a guillotine. I lowered my gaze and saw that one of my feet was standing on 2 floorboards at the same time. Kitchen looks really creepy. Something is really unsettling about nobody being around right now. Burnt to a crisp, huh? I moved my foot. Disgusting little snakes writhed in my belly, the fear of getting hit and being called nasty names. The clock clicked. I need to go. It was dark outside, fitting for an early winter morning. This darkness never fully left the houses around here. I took my time tying my shoes, buttoning up the puffy down jacket, trying to delay my unpleasant exit into the semi-dark, into the unnerving unknown. I rubbed my glasses for good luck, though I couldn't remember a single time these thick pieces of glass brought me any good fortune. Oh, it is dark out here. The sky was akin to a giant bruise. On the east side of it, a black cloud was swelling up. It licked up stars from the sky and extinguished the rising sun. Darkness was plastered all over the treetops. The cautious cries of birds got tangled up in the thicket. I locked the front door with a long key that I wore around my neck. The wind whizzed on the other side of the gate. It invited me into my new life, toward dubious adventures. And tagged alone, I think that's supposed to say and tagged along like an old buddy, pushing me in the back. Wide shadows that pines threw out covered a third of the clearing. Upon reaching the edge of the forest, I hid my nose in the coat's collar. I was squeezing through the thin firebreak, my hair ruffled up and my back hunched over. Tall trees stood on both sides of the tiny trail. The snowy blanket rustled under my feet, and the canopy of intertwined branches above my head cut me off from the already sparse starlight. The night had no plans of moving away from the forest. In this darkness, trees reminded me of shaggy old women that smelled of burial earth. Their trunks turned into cracked, wrinkled faces with holes in the middle as their mouths. If I lost focus, even for a moment, mold-covered witches would drag me into the forest depths. Then my parents would be walking around these parts, screaming my name. But the dead can't answer the living. Oh, Grandma. Or can they? A sense of panic was growing in my chest. I was fine with Dad carrying me into the school in his hands by now if it saved me from watching the darkness rise up in the ravines like black dough. It felt like someone jumped into the bushes behind me, so I turned around. As soon as I started walking faster, I heard the snow squeak behind me. The forest took a deep breath with its giant lungs. The windfall cracked. The wind and the birds were left behind in the field. Now I could only hear the forest creak. I walked, listened closely, and the unseen presence grew stronger, as if someone was following me, trying to match the pace of my footsteps. I turned my head so fast it made my neck crunch. A tiny trail behind me disappeared into the darkness. Tree branches overlapped, forming a natural tunnel. Who's there? The question escaped my lips and dissolved in the unending creaking sound of the wooden idols, the pines around me. Why did I think going through the forest alone was a good idea? I'm either going mad, or someone had intentionally lured me away from home. Distant lights granted me a smidgen of hope. A country road. I ran there as fast as I could, as if afraid that the trail will shrink. Clawed hands will grip me by the shoulders, turn me around, and make me look at the faces of hungry forest denizens. In the end, nobody stopped me. I almost flew to the decrepit wooden bridge, disbelieving my luck. The bridge's supports bathed in a spring, tarry and ice cold. I put my hands on my knees and looked up at the forest, then snorted, trying to calm my breathing. The thicket was pretending to be asleep. It looked peaceful, lifeless. The remaining part of my commute lied through a snow-laden road, illuminated by sparse lamplights. I chased away bad thoughts and ran as fast as I could from one circle of light to another, seeking protection from electric lamps. Just like in that game where you need to be the first to proclaim, "I'm protected." Oh, I got a new glossary term. Oh, tag. A kid's game where one player needs to tag other players by touching them with their hand, making them it. In certain zones, normally called the ghoul, players can stay safe from tagging. Oh, I have never played a version of tag where there was a safe zone. It was just a never-ending cycle of being it and not it. That's cool. I'm protected. I like that. It's just in this case, that protection was flimsy at best, with darkness writhing outside its bounds. Then I noticed something remarkably eerie. In a place where the light from an inclined lamp couldn't reach, a hairy, crooked shadow came alive with a guttural roar. Is it a wolf? It almost felt like its features deterred light. Its unnatural pose instilled fear. My eyes almost popped out of their sockets as I just stood there, blinking, trying to chase away that illusion. Oh, yep, that looks like a wolf. It sounds like one too. But the shadow didn't disappear and even got closer. My insides were gripped by horror. I stepped back and almost fell into a pile of snow. The black silhouette, on the other hand, straightened up and addressed me in a sweet voice.
Чего крадешься? Душу мою украсть хочешь?
Sneaking around, huh? Trying to steal my soul? Words got stuck in my throat. Who could be talking in such a silky voice here between the forest and the dormant village?
Чего молчишь, несмышленыш?
Will you say something, dummy?
Язык вырвали?
A cat got your tongue?
Слушай,
Oh, Jesus. All right.
а я тебе еще и нос откушу.
I'll bite off your nose then.
Будешь знать, как совать его в чужие дела.
That'll teach you not to poke it in places it doesn't belong. A girl stood before me, judging from the voice and the silhouette. But I couldn't even reprimand myself for getting scared by a girl before noticing a gaping mouth under her hood with something dangerously shiny inside. I was stunned. Okay, I think she's kind of cute. She looks cute. She looks cozy. From the cavity of her hood, a frighteningly real fox face was staring straight at me. I thought it was a wolf in the window earlier, and it turned out to be a fox. and I thought it was a wolf here, and it turned out to be a fox. Apparently my brain just cannot make a distinction between wolves and foxes. I apologize to both species. It's just her jaws weren't moving and her eyes weren't blinking. A mask? Oh, it's just a girl with a fox mask on. At least I wanted to think that. After a surprise like that, a nervous smile involuntarily crept onto my face. I was just
Просто в школу иду, а тут ты.
going to school and then you.
Что я?
What about me?
Никогда не видел, как лиса собаку
Never seen a
кормит.
fox feed a dog? And indeed, there was a small dog circling the girl's legs. One of the strays that were chasing me yesterday, probably.
Извини, я не хотел.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. After hearing my voice, the dog whimpered, lowers its ears, sniffed me out, and then started wagging its tail. I guess I still smelled of bologna that I ate for breakfast. I was shifting my gaze back and forth from the dog to the girl. She didn't seem scary anymore, just weird.
Значит, не хотел.
So you didn't mean to, huh?
Как тебя зовут?
What's your name?
Меня Антон.
I'm Anton.
А тебя?
And you?
А меня нет.
And I'm not. She's weird. Definitely has a couple loose screws. But she has a nice voice. My astonishment has turned into a mix of happiness and relief. This girl I didn't know was definitely human, if a bit eccentric. I was also a bit angry at myself. This foxy girl was walking through the darkness without problem, and I shuddered from every little sound. I could just walk away, but this girl had piqued my interest. The next time a police officer asks me about my friends at the new place, I'll tell him that I befriended a talking fox.
Ты здесь живешь?
Do you live around here?
В поселке?
In the village? The fox giggled and purred. I like her. She spun around so hard the hem of her coat lifted up.
Нет,
No,
глупый.
Demi.
Лисы не живут в поселках.
Foxes don't live in villages. I mean, I have to say, I get that we believe she's a girl in a fox costume. She doesn't sound like a normal person, though. There is definitely something off about her voice. I'm really curious.
Хочешь сказать, ты живешь в лесу?
So you live in the forest, then?
Из какой норы ты вылез?
Have you been living under a rock?
Конечно! Лисам среди людей не выжить,
It's obvious that foxes can't survive anywhere near humans,
пока они лисы.
as long as they're foxes. Her jokes were also weird. Just like her carnival mask, papier-mâché with fur glued onto it. A dog reminded us of its existence with a loud bark. I unfastened my backpack. Dad would sometimes throw food in there without my knowledge, cookies, apples, or even my favorite crab sticks. He called it a gift from the bunny. Ooh, and not just a glossary term, but a glossary term with the word bunny. Treat from the bunny. The uneaten part of a business lunch or a treat specifically bought for children. Parents would tell their children that a bunny asked them to deliver said treat, but it could also be any other animal, a squirrel or a bear, for example. Oh, okay, so if you, as an adult, ate lunch at work or something, you could save a bit of your lunch and bring it home to your child. Okay, that's what they mean now. Okay, I get it now. Treat from the bunny. I like that. The stray strolled toward me with mincing footsteps, with a pleading look in its eyes. The fox did definitely treat it to something, but it was probably still hungry.
Зачем ты так вырядилась с утра пораньше?
Why are you dressed like this so early in the morning?
На утренник идешь?
Going to a costume party? The girl shrugged, throwing silvery snowflakes off her nose, and her human form along with them, turning into a genuine beast. A real fox, agile, cunning, dangerous. Oh, hello. A moment of hesitation and you'll be ripped to shreds. She'll tear you up and gulp you down without breaking a sweat. I couldn't help but just stand there as a stump. Until I heard her calm, melodic laughter hidden underneath the beastly mask.
Видел бы ты свою маску, сладенький.
I wish you could have seen your own mask, sweetie. Did she say sweetie? I got embarrassed, went red up to my hair roots. We'd seen a fox in a zoo once, when we went there with Dad, but it had patchy fur, was gray and skinny, but this girl was of fiery color and furry, just like in fairy tales. I was still rummaging through my backpack. My fingers that were searching for the dog's treat stumbled upon some soft, crumpled object.
Ничего.
You'll see.
Скоро проснутся настоящие звери.
The real beasts will wake up soon.
Спроси-ка лучше у них, где они взяли свои человеческие лица.
You should ask them where they got their human faces. The girl's shadow was dancing in the lamp's light. The dog yapped in agreement. I freaked out and dropped my finding in the snow without getting a proper chance to examine it. Cold wind instantly covered the hole it created with snow. The dog rushed to dig it out, wanting to get its treat. And the fox just snorted. Now I was so embarrassed I wanted to sink through the snow. It was still dark outside of the electric circle. On the contrary, the darkness seemed even more thick. All neighboring houses were sleeping deeply in its inkiness. I did my best to continue the conversation with the weird girl I didn't know.
Так ты в школу идешь?
So, are you going to school?
Ах, ну какой же дурачок!
Oh my, you are a real dummy.
Так ничего и не
Don't you
понял.
get it? Well, I was trying to be friendly, but she can't stop mocking me, calling me a dummy and all. I should have just moved along without paying any attention to this. I should have I'm so sorry, guys. Absolutely beautifully written game, but the English translation is a bit messy and sometimes trips me up. I should have just moved along without paying any attention to this weirdo and her stupid dog.
А ты чего обзываешься?
Why are you so mean?
Не хочешь отвечать, и пожалуйста.
Don't answer if you don't want to.
Никто не требует.
It's not like I care. Still, something froze me in place, tugged me toward the dark figure. A mysterious appearance, her voice that was velvety and just languid enough. I was intrigued and excited. I watched her as people watch fires burn.
Ой, да не дуйся.
Oh, stop pouting.
Гляди-ка
Look
лучше.
here.
Ты нравишься Жульке.
Julka took a liking to you. The dog was digging through snow with sharp movements, snoring loudly. The fox turned around and looked at the windows of a nearby house at its timbered front through the white mist. The tip of her fake nose was shining under the lamp's light.
И не только
And maybe
ей.
someone else, too. I went red again, like a boiled crayfish this time. Is she talking about herself or someone else? I hoped that the semi-dark would be able to hide my embarrassment from the girl. I cleared my throat before asking.
А кому еще я нравлюсь?
And who's that person? I waited, counting my heartbeat. The fox didn't reply. Her sly stare was scanning the frosty patterns of someone's windows. She was reading them like a glass book. I wonder what she can see in those winter paintings. The stray stopped rummaging through the snow. It ran to me, holding my object in her jaws. A mitten. Could it be the one I found in the forest? What is it doing here? When I looked closer, I realized that it was just my mitten. Maybe Mom stuffed it in there when I was asleep. A certain missing boy immediately came to mind.
Эй, ты знаешь что-нибудь про Вову?
Hey, do you know anything about Vova? I imagined the scene, silhouettes dancing in the clearing. The dance on the night when Vova had disappeared. A boy who, when found, can provide a big reward and maybe save my family. I remembered my birthday, when our parents promised to take me and Olya to Disneyland in Paris. But instead of a long-anticipated gift, they gave me a simple brick game console, visibly embarrassed. I was crying my eyes out back then, demanding to take me to the promised amusement park. Okay, well now I'm starting to seem like a bit of a brat. That was the first time when Mom and Dad had a big fight. My greediness shattered their relationship. Aw, okay. Now I feel badly for him again. If only I could fix everything, gather everybody I love and take them to Disneyland.
В ночь, когда пропал Вова, я, кажется, видел, как кто-то похожий на тебя плясал под моим окном.
On the night Vova had disappeared, I think I saw someone looking like you dancing under my window. Oh, hi again. It couldn't be true, but I felt like her mask became even more sly. The fox was sniffing me out.
А что? Ты тогда испугался?
Oh, that got you worried?
За себя или кого-то еще?
For yourself or someone else? Olya. As soon as I thought about my sister, my chest tightened and cold sweat streamed down my spine.
Ну так слушай меня внимательно, мальчик по имени Антон.
Well, then listen closely, a boy named Anton.
Это большой и страшный лес.
This is a big and scary forest. The fox girl stepped forward menacingly.
И я не единственный его обитатель.
And I'm not its only tenant.
Другие звери уже знают о тебе.
The other beasts already know about you.
Берегись нас. Этой ночью
Beware,
мы опять
we'll
придем.
come again tonight. Who the fuck is this girl? Is it a girl or a fox? Is it both? What are they doing? Are they real? Are they only in my head? I'm really fucking confused. I shouldn't have talked to this evil in child form, I thought, panicking.
Пока ты со своей семьей будешь спать, подкрадемся близко-близко.
When you and your parents will be fast asleep, we'll sneak really close and dance.
Macarena!
Macarena.
Чё?
Uh-huh.
Heyyyy, Macarena!
I really, really like this character. Whatever she is, I like her. I am just stunned.
У тебя прямо челюсть отвисла, Антоша!
Look at you, your mouth is agape, Antosha.
Видел он меня ночью у своего окна? Ага, как же!
He saw me near his window at night. Yeah, right.
А ты случаем не местный дурачок, нет?
Are you by chance a dimwit?
Меня не отпускают гулять так поздно.
Nobody would let me go outside that late.
Здесь, знаешь ли, дети пропадают.
Children go missing here, you know. I touched the plastic frame of my glasses, puzzled by her silly joke. She got me scared to death.
Ой, да не тереби ты окуляры свои.
Hey, why don't you stop fondling your glasses?
Я раньше тоже близорукой была.
I was also nearsighted once.
Лучше послушай меня. Может быть, ума наберешься.
Listen to me, and maybe you'll become smarter.
Лисичку как обычно называют?
Remember, what do they call foxes?
Плутовка?
Cunning? My words seemed to hurt her. Hey,
Ох ты
what did you...
Да... Ой,
sorry. Her laughter was akin to the jingle of a pair of silver bells.
Да шучу я.
Just pulling your leg. She's such a troll. I fucking love her.
Конечно, плутовка.
Of course we're cunning.
Если ты ловкий и смелый, не боишься с плутовкой водиться, я, так и быть, помогу разыскать этого.
If you're
вора.
agile and brave enough to befriend a cunning fox, I'll help look for your Vova.
Ты же неспроста его ищешь.
There's a reason why you're doing it, right? I shrugged in reply. Her insight was alarming.
Знаю, почему дети повадились соваться в наш лес.
I know why children have been swarming our forests lately.
Порой там можно найти много всякого интересного.
Sometimes you can find a lot of interesting stuff there.
Я вот однажды нашла целый сугроб конфет и купалась в нем. Да так что челюсть слиплась.
One day, I saw a huge pile of candy once, and I swam in it until my jaws cramped. A pile of candy? I couldn't deduce whether she believed in what she was saying from the tone of her voice. I showed her another smile, a fake one this time.
Посмотрите-ка, какой
Boo, so
недоверчивый.
wary.
Ну-ну, а что ты на это скажешь?
Well, what will you say to this then? She held out her hand in a furry mitten. There was an assortment of sweets in her palm. In the city where I used to live, sweets like these were sold at markets or in kiosks. Kiosks, small container-type shops selling a wide assortment of products from bubblegum to vodka, clothing, or even home appliances. These types of shops were popular in 90s Russia and more often than not tied to criminal organizations. We have many kiosks here in America, but I have never heard of ties to, like, the mob. That's interesting. Also, we are gonna be late for school. I saw my favorite bubblegum in a vivid wrapper among the tasty treasure. A familiar name was on it. Turbo. A triangular fox face poked her nose toward me.
Угощайся.
Take some.
У меня их полные
My
карманы.
pockets are full of these. Oh, do I take the candy from the stranger? Don't take candy from strangers. It's like rule one. That was That's the golden rule of not getting murdered. But yeah, I mean, we're going to take the candy, obviously. I accepted the treat, and catching a whiff of the girl's smell, fur, fireworks, and citrus, the smell of holidays. My fingers tingled while I was carefully unwrapping the gum. Peachy aroma entered my nostrils, and something else, something unfamiliar but pleasant. The fruity cube ended up in my mouth. I started moving my molars, chewing the gum. It tasted like your usual Turkish gum, only my tongue went a bit numb. Is that normal? Does our tongue normally go numb when we eat Turkish bubblegum? I couldn't believe my luck after opening the insert. Bubblegum insert games, the type of game where players put bubblegum inserts onto their palm and try to flip it by throwing it in the air. The player who happens to flip one or more inserts claims them as their prize. Those inserts were often considered as collectibles. I looked at a Mercedes-Benz, an extremely rare and hence desirable collector's item for any boy from my previous neighborhood. My heart skipped a beat. I was barely able to tear my eyes off the insert, still stunned. This is...
Теперь понял, что можно найти в лесу.
Now do you see what can be found in the forest?
Только на твоем месте я бы туда в одиночку не ходила.
Still, I wouldn't go there alone if I were you.
Тебе вон от жвачки в забу дыханье сперла.
You get so flustered over simple bubblegum after all.
А представляешь, что с тобой будет, если найдешь чемодан таких фантиков?
Imagine what would happen if you find a travel case worth of these.
Голову напрочь снесет. И пиши пропало.
It'll surely blow your mind. Unusual treats, just like everything else about her. I carefully hid the insert in my bag, as if I was putting a rare butterfly in a can. The fox giggled. This is not how things are supposed to go on a Monday morning. Oh, I got an achievement. Sweet. Who are you? I refrained from asking that question. She wouldn't answer anyway, or she'll just lie. I really wanted to see what's behind her mask. I was becoming more and more sure that underneath it wasn't just a simple young girl.
Может, Вова тоже нашел сугроб сладостей и теперь кувыркается в нем?
What if Vova also found a snow pile with sweets and is now rolling in it?
Слушай, вдруг он решил остаться в лесу?
Actually, what if he decided to stay in the forest?
Тогда, наверное, ему очень холодно в одной варежке.
He must be so cold without his second mitten, then. Did we tell her about the mitten? The wind caught her words like smoke from a fire and carried them deep into the darkness, into the creepy thicket. The trees behind me creaked with their bony branches.
Или с ним что-то случилось в пути.
Or what if something happened to him along the way?
Что-то страшное.
Something terrible. The forest reacted to her words, became alive. It sniffed me out, perking up its ears, just like a curious beast. The fox girl pierced me with her eyes again.
Дикие звери?
Wild beasts?
Это, по-твоему, страшно?
You find that scary?
Ну, не
Well,
знаю.
I don't know.
Не знаю.
He doesn't know.
Уж не с двоечником ли я подружилась?
Oh my, have I befriended a dunce? I don't like being called a dunce, yet being friends with her sounded nice.
Я хорошист.
My grades are good.
Бел да пушист.
Really now.
Пойдешь со мной, хорошист Антон?
Will you come with me, good grades Anton?
Найдем твоего Вову, и сам его спросишь, что он нашел в этой пуще.
We'll find your Vova, and you'll be able to ask him what he found deep in the forest.
Ведь пока мы вместе, никто тебя в лесу не тронет.
As long as you're with me, nothing can hurt you in the forest.
Вот увидишь.
You'll see. Worms of worry writhed in my belly. Better run, whispered my mind.
Я тебе не
I
верю.
don't believe you.
Ты думаешь, я врунья?
Do you take me for a liar?
Да и пожалуйста, мне никогда никто не верит.
Whatever, you're just like everybody else. The girl sounded hurt, although I didn't know if she was genuine about it. She turned around as if she had immediately lost all interest in me. The gum felt bitter now. I remembered my dad's favorite saying, "Where are your manners, son?" Indeed, this fox was kind to me. I mean, she was, but she also wasn't. She's adorable, and I do think we should hang out with her, but I don't blame Anton for wanting to just go to school, because that's where he's supposed to go. He's supposed to go to school. Go to school, Anton.
Не обижайся, пожалуйста.
Please don't get mad.
Лисы бывают и добрыми.
Foxes can also be nice.
Ну, как в сказках.
Like in fairy tales.
Мне бы только понять, что ты за лиса.
I just need to know what kind of fox you are. The girl giggled, hiding the nose of her mask in her hands.
Тогда пойдем со мной в лес, и ты все обо мне узнаешь.
Then follow me into the forest and you'll get to know me.
Но не сейчас, а когда рассветет. А то тебя, бедного, всего аж потряхивает.
But not right now, when it gets bright. I mean, your whole body is shaking, you poor thing.
Да выгляди, кондрашка хватит.
I don't want you to get a stroke.
Айда, провожу тебя до школы.
Hey, let me accompany you to school. After hearing this, the dog barked in agreement and stopped messing with the mitten. I leaned in, trying to grab the piece of handwear that almost ran away from me.
Ну, если тебе по пути...
Well, if we're going in the same direction. We went toward the school and lost the dawn. Here and there, the lights came on in the windows of houses we passed, as if their inhabitants were sending us warning signs. Silhouettes lurked behind curtains, dogs let out occasional barks. Spirals of gray smoke rose from chimneys, TVs bustled, and dishes clanged in kitchens. We watched the village slowly rise from its slumber while carefully treading the snowy wheeled trails. I walked in the left one, and she took the right one. The dog was following right behind us. I expected the fox to bring up something weird again, but she stayed silent all the way to the school, as if playing with me some game only she was privy to. She would only giggle from time to time when the dog sneezed from the snowflakes that fell on its nose. Oh, they actually put the sound of a dog sneezing in there. It's so cute. Yeah, I was the first to break the silence.
Так как тебя зовут?
So, what's your name?
А, ну конечно.
Here it comes.
Имена.
Names, names, names.
Людям непременно надо вешать ярлыки на все
You
подряд.
people always need to put labels on everything.
Ну и как бы ты назвал такую лису, как я?
What name would you give to a fox like me?
Даже не знаю.
I don't know,
Но я читал про лису по имени Алиса.
but I've read about Elisa the fox.
А что?
You know what?
Я не
I don't
против.
mind.
Пусть будет
I'll be
Алиса.
Elisa. I couldn't understand if she was joking or not. I turned around as if looking for an answer, from the dog, from the dark sky devoid of dawn. My silent questions were left unanswered. The school's outline was already in our sight. A giant brick box stuck in the endless night. Lights in its windows didn't bode well for me. The warden trees were guarding the school. Screams, childish laughter, and someone's whistling tore up the silence. I went here with Mom when we just moved, and the place looked cozy at that time, empty corridors that smelled of polish, puffy snow outside. The second time I came alone to get the books and just kept on imagining my peers rolling down the railings, grade schoolers running to the library, and teachers marching down the corridor with the air of self-importance around them. High schoolers were smoking at the entrance. That guy does not look like a high schooler. That guy looks about 50 years old. It's a very cool character design, but he looks way older than like 17. High schoolers were smoking at the entrance, in track pants and wool caps perched on their foreheads. Their appearance destroyed the last hopes for a cozy school. Their stingy eyes and the teeth yellow from nicotine, their smirks, all of it had the same gloomy effect as the cloudy winter morning. Absorbed by my thoughts, I completely forgot about my companion.
После уроков жду тебя на заднем дворе.
I'll wait for you at the backyard after school,
Возле повешенного.
near the hanged man.
Возле кого?
Near what? She just ignored my question.
Не опаздывай.
Don't be late. I hesitated, blowing hot and cold again. My mom always said that when I would have trouble choosing between two options. Thinking about Mom helped me reply.
Я после школы сразу домой.
I'm going straight home after school.
Эх, Антоша.
Well,
Это я тебя
Antosha,
так просто
I'm going to let you
отпустила.
off the hook.
Другие же незаметно подкрадутся со своими улыбочками и вцепятся. Клещами не оторвешь.
But the others will creep up to you with their smiles and sink their teeth into you. Won't be able to shake them off as easily.
Попомни мои слова.
Remember my words. Dude, that was not a mask. That was a mouth. The fox opened her mouth with a wide yawn. What kind of trick is this?
Antoja!
Someone running in the distance called out my name. I instinctively turned around. A huge snowball whizzed past my shoulder and hit the dog. It whimpered and ran toward the spring. The darkness devoured it. The fox girl was also nowhere to be seen. She dissolved into frosty air. Or was she hiding in my shadow? I gulped and swallowed the gum. Unlucky. After taking a deep breath, I went toward the school, toward the cutlets and dough, toward the light raining down onto the snow. So was that... Oh, you can make the car horn honk. Oh, that's neat. When you hover over it. Okay, that's fun. I wonder if that was actually... wonder if there had been more sounds, because I remember the teddy bear from our sister's bedroom, but I didn't really do a whole lot of hovering over the items before. The question that I have... So was that a kid that we go to school with that tried to throw a snowball at us who knew me by name? Because I thought that this was our first day at a new school, like not just a new school term. I'm just surprised that they know who we are. Okay, so let's look at the car first. There was a fresh-looking Volga parked nearby with one of its front wheels perched up on the icy curb. Black like Sooth. If it was Sooth? What is Sooth? As if it was straight out of the horror story Dad loved to tell me when we hid in the attic during a thunderstorm. I remember him always wearing a sad smile while mentioning the black car that snatched children. He would say, "It looks like a funeral car on the inside, white curtains and all. And it has DSC in its license plate. Do you know what that means? Death to Soviet children." Funny, I was born in the USSR too. A buzzing crowd of upperclassmen with their winter hats tipped to the side. I'd better not draw their attention. A tall man was standing near the gate, puffing out clouds of smoke into the wind. He didn't look like a teacher. Was he a PE guy, maybe? Oh, so he is supposed to be older. Okay. My bad. I thought that he was supposed to be the high school boy that was smoking and so I was confused, but he's supposed to look like he's 50. I carefully studied his face that looked like it was cut from a piece of granite and his hair lip that was holding down a cigarette. He was playing around with car keys and staring back at us. The light from the cigarette was reflected in his eyes that were sitting deep in his eye sockets. I froze in place. The hulking man lazily tore his eyes from us and walked toward the road. Whose nest is this, I wonder? A thieving magpie? Then it probably has all sorts of shiny things in it. Pieces of colorful glass, bottle caps, polished coins, or child braces. All right. So I think this is probably a good time to take a little break. I will be back Monday for what I imagine will be our first day at school.